PSG extinguished Barcelona's possible deja vu comeback opportunity, and Liverpool sail comfortably into the next round of the Champions League. Hey guys, Fletch here, bringing you a Fletch Talks video. You know the drill by now. This is the video where I talk about a trending topic or a very big topic of interest within the footballing world. And today, of course, we are continuing with focusing with the continuation of the aftermath, the fallout of this week's Champions League action. We know now half of the teams that will be in the draw for the quarter-final round of this competition after 4 of the 8 teams to qualify have qualified this week. And of course next week we will find out the conclusion of the round of 16 stage when the other 8 teams battle it out to see who will be joining the 4 teams that have qualified this week. Tuesday night saw both Porto and Borussia Dortmund progress to the quarter-final stages, whilst last night we saw PSG beat Barcelona to book their place in the final 8, while 6-time Champions League winners Liverpool also eased into the next round with a comfortable victory over German outfit RB Leipzig. But before we talk about the games last night, a reminder to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new, because both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. Now, let's get on with talking some Champions League football, shall we? Yeah, so we're going to begin with PSG, who last night qualified into the quarter-final stages of this tournament by beating Barcelona 5-2 on aggregate and 1-1 on the scoreline on the night. The game itself had a bit of a deja vu factor about it going into it. After the events that took place a few years ago between these two sides, it's easy to see why. That night, of course, PSG found themselves 4-0 up going into their second leg tie at the Nou Camp. And of course, Barcelona managed to pull off an incredible and phenomenal comeback where the Spanish Giants were the ones to qualify at the expense of PSG. And of course, going into this night, well, the Spanish Giants were looking to replicate something similar and, you know, have something similar replicate on the night of some sort of miraculous comeback. However, it wasn't to be, and it was the French champions who exacted their revenge on Barcelona, and a stubborn and resilient defensive display saw to that and helped them neutralise Barcelona's threats and see themselves comfortably into the next round of the competition. Superstar Kylian Mbappe, he got the ball rolling for PSG. He opened the scoring from the penalty spot before Lionel Messi scored a fantastic long-range effort to keep the game interesting. But he himself had a moment of weakness, a moment of actually being human, because he went on to miss from the penalty spot himself. And from there, PSG went on to see the game out in a solid and very strong and disciplined defensive display. Just how far will PSG go in this competition this year? Well, of course, if you remember last season, they went on to get to the final and came runners-up last season to Bayern Munich. This season, they certainly do have the possibility to possibly go one step further and actually win this entire tournament. It isn't out the realms of possibility. They do have the quality. They do have the new manager in Mauricio Pochettino, who of course has got to a final himself the past couple of years, where of course in 2019, where he was managing Tottenham at the time and he got them to a final when they lost to Liverpool on that final. So they do have that kind of experience to go along with that. And of course, when you've got the likes of Neymar, when you've got the likes of Kylian Mbappe in your ranks, of course you're going to have a very good chance at winning these big European and big cup competitions. So, of course, that a first major European title could very well be on the cards for PSG this season. But of course, there's a long way to go yet. There are some big teams in there that PSG will be aware of. Big teams that they could possibly draw in the next round as well. You look at the likes of Bayern Munich and Manchester City. Okay, it's not set in stone because they still have to qualify next week. They still have to get the job done in the second leg as they're in the other half of the round of 16 draw. But it is very likely that both sides will be qualifying next week and could meet PSG in the quarterfinals. So they'll be aware of the opponents that they could be facing, but I'm sure that they will fancy their chances nonetheless. And to be fair, if they want to be kings of Europe, those are the kind of teams you're going to have to go through. As for Barcelona, though, well, it's another year without Champions League glory. And you do begin, if you haven't already, you now begin to worry about this once great European titan of football. Of course, they still have the history, they still have the players for right now, but with Messi looking increasingly likely to leave this summer, barring some incredible U-turn, of course, in which he would pledge his future to the club, and with the financial difficulties and troubles that Barcelona find themselves in right now, the future doesn't look particularly bright for the Spanish Giants, and big changes are going to be definitely needed if Barcelona want to become kings of Europe in the near future. Next, we move on to the second game of the night, which was Liverpool against RB Leipzig. And just like the first leg, both Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah scored the goals to safely and securely place Liverpool's name into the hat for the quarterfinals draw as the Reds ran out 4-0 winners over Leipzig on the night. The Reds saw out the first half in comfortable style, and then in the second half they picked apart Leipzig as the German club came at Liverpool and tried to increase the pressure in search of goals that would get them back into the tie. But unfortunately for them, it proved to be fruitless, and Liverpool went on to take full advantage of their attacking nature. It's a result that hopefully should put some more confidence back into this Liverpool side. They saw out their work that they had done in the first leg and went about their performance in a professional manner. Big positives for me anyway included the performance of Nat Phillips at centre-back. I thought he was absolutely solid throughout the entire game. Of course, the goals to both Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane will give them a boost and a shot of confidence, especially Mane, who's been pretty poor for quite a while now, unfortunately for him. But that goal hopefully should put some confidence back into him. And of course, having Fabinho back into the midfield for the first time since something like October, November time, massive, massive boost for Liverpool. And, you know, as far as going forward in this competition for Jurgen Klopp's side, look, we know Liverpool haven't been at their best this season. Then we know they haven't reached the incredible highs that they've reached in previous seasons gone by. And, you know, there are many reasons for that, but you know, this competition and this club have big and phenomenal and extraordinary history together. So, regardless of how their form may be in recent weeks and how not so great a shape it's in, why not? Why not say that there isn't a possibility that Liverpool could make it 7 Champions Leagues this season? Of course, like I say, there's a long way to go, and you know, there are plenty of bigger teams in there that may look to take advantage of the injury list and some of the defensive frailties that Liverpool currently possess. But you know, teams will still be very wary of the threat that Liverpool can cause, as we've seen this season. And, you know, the Reds do tend to struggle mainly against teams that sit with a low defensive block and try to play counter-attacking football and absorb some of the Reds' pressure. But in Europe, and especially the Champions League, not many teams play like that, especially at this later stage, with the exception of possible Atletico Madrid. But we wait and see if they get past Chelsea next week. And, you know, if they don't, Liverpool will have probably much more of a chance at beating the rest of the teams than them, in all honesty. But, of course, there is a long way to go. There are plenty of bigger teams, like I mentioned. Manchester City for one, Bayern Munich for another. even PSG. There are plenty of teams that will still cause Liverpool problems, and they will be licking their lips at the prospect of facing an injury-hit Liverpool side with a few defensive frailties. But they will still be wary of what Liverpool can cause them, the damage that Liverpool can cause them. But again, I have to reiterate, a 7th Champions League title might seem unlikely, but certainly not impossible for Liverpool, especially as it's the only thing Liverpool have got left going for them for the remainder of this campaign. Now, as for Leipzig, a lack of cutting edge in the attack is what cost them over the 2 legs here. They've got a relatively young manager who's doing a great job with the club, but, you know, he will learn from this. But in the Champions League, you've got to have a prolific striker up front. You've got to have a prolific attack in front of goal, and that's exactly what has let him down here. But ultimately, you know, overall for Leipzig, this is a very inexperienced team, of course. They only formed in 2009, I believe. So it's all about building this club and creating their history. And, you know, this is just another chapter in them doing that going forward. So it'll be interesting to see how their journey goes from here. But of course, these are just one man's thoughts and one man's opinions on this particular topic. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of both of these games? What do you make of Liverpool and PSG progressing to the quarter-final stages? How do you rate their chances of going on to win the Champions League this season? What do you make of Barcelona crashing out? What do you make of Leipzig being knocked out of this competition? Any of these thoughts or comments on any of the Champions League fixtures that have happened, whether it's in this round of fixtures or Tuesday night's fixtures, or even if you have any predictions for next week's games or anything of that nature to do with the Champions League, I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call them, down in the comments section below. I'm sure they'll all make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video.